What? It was his mother? Generic intro into that goes me here, back with another kill count reaction. Today we're doing a Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and 4, which I believe people talk about either the third or the fourth one being like the perfect mix between scary and funny. But last week's video we did part 1 and 2. It's my first time seeing anything related to a Nightmare on Elm Street. You can check out my reaction to that kill count. I'll leave it right up there. Also link down below in the description. Also in a place on my channel with all my other kill count reactions. Go to chronological order. I thoroughly enjoyed it a lot. The video went live yesterday. I read the comments last night. Actually, a lot of people were saying that Johnny Depp was I think the guy with the football jersey that got like eaten into the bed, which Johnny Depp in beds is forever cursed in my mind because of the whole court case and whatnot. But this is gonna be a Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and 4, which crazy that it came out in, you know, back-to-back years, and just everything that got started because of Freddy Krueger and the Nightmare on Elm Street. I'm sure these videos are gonna be even more off the walls, just craziness, and I'm looking forward to see what James has to say about that. I look forward to reading your comments as well, because I read every single one of them. Also, shout out to the patrons, because they got all the videos day early. I could not do this if it was not for them. So I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope I can make it just tiny, a little bit better, and I hope you're subscribed. We just hit 93,000 subscribers. We're closing in on 100,000. But let's go ahead and jump into a Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors. All right. So the last video had some copyright issues, not a ton. That's why if things ever blurred, that's why. Also, Nancy's actress was the Reverend for James and Chelsea's wedding.
Dream Warriors, released in 1987. With a screenplay begun by Wes Craven and revised by Frank Darabont, Nightmare 3 completely ignores everything from Part 2, choosing instead to bring back Nancy and delve deeper into Freddy's backstory. Dream Warriors is the movie that began Freddy's status as pop culture icon, with him spitting out one-liners every kill and appearing in all sorts of different fun forms. Balancing out the 1987 though? A solid cast of teens that includes Patricia Arquette in her first ever role. She plays Kristen Parker, whose unique ability to pull other people into her dreams leads to the creation of the titular Dream Warriors, a group of institutionalized kids who fight Freddy with their dream powers. While that may sound a little goofy,
imagine the wind
Dream Warriors
blowing.
has a much more well-balanced tone than the campy stuff that would come later in the series. It's also got some pretty damn memorable kills, so let's count some sheep and get to them.
Some sheep.
The movie begins with a poke quote.
Those little slices of death.
Then credits start playing over someone making, is that pancake batter? Oh,
think
paper mache. That's a fun activity. Ooh, and popsicle sticks? Must be some kindergartners having a great time at summer camp.
At night?
Or it's a full-grown woman. This is Kristen Parker, who's downing instant coffee chased with Coke to get this art project done. Her mom comes in and makes her go to bed, so Kristen's gonna have to wait until tomorrow to finish her perfect scale model of the Elm Street house. She must be one of those artists who finds inspiration in their dreams, because in hers, the Elm Street house looms large.
I never remember my dreams, so...
featuring a rare guest appearance by a jump rope boy. Kristen winds up inside the house's basement, where a girl in a floofy Beauty and the Beast dress is riding a tricycle. Then the furnace turns on, and the girl tells Kristen whose house. And it ain't Run's.
Is that one of the victims?
Kristen grabs the baby Belle and races through the Elm Street house as Krueger chases after her. Eventually, she finds herself in a room full of hanging corpses. Not enough corpses for you? Look down.
Is he gonna count all of them?
Now a corpse. Back to Kristen. She wakes up and the nightmare is over. Or is it? Because that handsy faucet and the funhouse near Freddy say otherwise. Freddy uses the faucets as his finger knives and slashes at Kristen right as her mom opens the door, making it look like Kristen was just attempting to commit suicide. Weston Hills we go, a psychiatric hospital which the series would return to
not
Freddy
the grippy
vs.
socks.
Jason. The staff at this place includes Dr. Gordon, played by not Bill Maher, and the orderly Max, played by Lawrence Fishburne, in a very transitional state between Cowboy Curtis and Morpheus. There's also another doctor there, Sims, who tells Gordon that they have a hotshot grad student coming to work for them. Guess who it is? It's motherfucking Nancy Thompson, white hair streak and all. And she shows up as Kristen is being admitted in a not-so-peaceful manner, throwing shit around and slashing Max with a scalpel. Nancy's able to provide some understanding and calm Kristen down with a hug. She's been through a lot. Then Max introduces Nancy to a couple more patients. Philip is a sleepwalker who makes marionette puppets, which will come back later in a fun way. And Kincaid, my personal favorite character, is a temperamental dude who Max says often winds up in the quiet room.
I do it so I don't have to look at your ugly face all the time.
Kincaid's the best. Such a goofster. Another patient is Joey, a mute dude with a teardrop tattoo and most of a mullet, and he's got the hots for a nurse who works there. Nancy talks to Doc Gordon, who tells her all the kids there have excessive nightmares, so they're always trying to avoid sleep. Nancy accidentally
Freddy Krueger's gonna have fun here.
Sees a pill bottle labeled Hypnosil, which he learns later that night is an experimental drug used to suppress dreams. After Nancy leaves, Gordon notices a nun creeping in a corridor, which plants the seed for a very messy, very Catholic storyline to grow throughout the rest of the series. Meanwhile, Nancy goes to Kristen's house to pick up her stuff and finds the popsicle stick version of her old haunt in Kristen's bedroom. Yeah, I know, Nance, right? Pretty impressive paper mache. Turns out Kristen's downright obsessed with that house, and she's drawn a picture of it as she nods off in the hospital. Dreamtime comes, and she's visited by a trike, leaving bloody streak marks. Then it melts, and she backs up out of her hospital room right into the Elm Street house. On the menu tonight is rotting pig corpse. But careful there, Kristen. This pork bites back. Another room she's in just kind of self-destructs around her before a big old Freddy
and these are like practical effects too, which is awesome.
This gives us another classic visual from the series.
I don't
Fred
think
worm trying to swallow Kristen whole. It's at this point that Kristen calls out for Nancy. Nancy awakens from her nap in an IKEA chair. Seems like the popsicle house is calling out to her. And next thing you know, she's falling backwards through the chair, crash landing in an Elm Street house hallway where she checks out Kristen's
gotta be terrifying.
kinky dream. Yep, Nancy is in Kristen's dream now.
Oh,
and after
well, that's
seeing the
convenient.
hungry worm, she immediately stabs it in the eye, causing Freddy to let Kristen go. Reel back and see her.
Oh my God.
As he charges at them,
he's like, I remember you.
Behind a door. Then Nancy wakes up and finds that a cut on her hand is carried over from Kristen's dream. Nancy immediately confronts Kristen with the popsicle stick
what did
model
you
of her
do?
old house, and Kristen admits that she's had this dream recruitment power since she was a child, when she would pull her dad into her nightmares to keep her safe. Hey, yo, Kristen, the U.S. military would pay top dollar for that kind of power.
Yeah, it would, yeah.
Group there.
Yeah, no.
Session. Straight talk only in this room.
It's our chance to meet all the other patients in this joint, like Will, a geeky guy confined to a wheelchair after apparently trying to jump to his own death. There's also Jennifer, who plans to be an actress whenever she gets out of Weston, and finally Taryn, who has a history with drugs and chose to stay at Weston to avoid juvie. They talk with the doctors about their collective nightmare, and Dr. Sims says the scary dream man is probably just the manifestation of guilt and
But is it all Freddy Krueger?
My dick is killing me.
That night, Will, Joey, and Taryn are playing a knockoff D&D called Wizard Master, until Max comes in and tells them it's time for lights out. As soon as he's out of the room, though, Joey and Will argue over who's on first shift or staying up. Looks
I was
like
gonna say who's
got
on
themselves
first.
a buddy system to stay alive. Good on them. Too bad Phil and Kincaid aren't taking the same precaution, because don't look now, but it's Freddy Krueger as envisioned by Andre Toulon. I love the stop-motion Freddy puppet here, even if we only see it for a few seconds before Freddy scales up to full size at the foot of Phil's head. He slashes Phil all over the place with his finger knives and then rips out his, I don't know, what is that, veins? Muscles,
yeah, no,
tendons?
those are important.
And starts playing Phil like a marionette puppet. Kincaid wakes up and sees Phil sleepwalking, and the sight is pretty creepy, even without the tendons coming out of him. Of course, I much prefer my sleepwalking kills with
to be
so it's great
painful.
that we get some close-ups of the gnarly effects as Phil is compelled down the hallway and
It's fake,
through the
YouTube.
front door of the hospital.
It's
Joey,
fake.
ever vigilant, sees
Oh.
Phil hanging out where he shouldn't be and friggin' drags Will to the window to see. We get a great scene of watching how capable these kids are. Will busts open the window to yell for Phil, while Joey manages to get the attention of the front desk nurse and everyone else in the hospital without ever speaking a word. It's too late, though. He only succeeds in gathering an audience to watch out the window.
Why does it go there instead
this
of
iconic kill, dangling Phil out over the open air before
why is he
slicing
so
off his
big?
vein strings and letting him fall to his death. The movie's first kill wasn't until a half hour in, but goddamn,
That was
it
a good-
worth it. At group
that was a
session
good
the
one.
next day, the doctors are torn over
don't
whether
do
it was
that.
a sleepwalking accident or a
You
suicide.
matter.
And Gordon shows they
really
have no
do.
idea how to talk to at-risk teenagers.
Philip quit. He gave up. Philip killed himself. Now that's a cowardly thing. That's an empty thing. He let himself down. He let all of us down.
Jesus, dude, read a book on mental health, mate.
Yeah.
After the session, and at Nancy's insistence, Gordon says he's gonna prescribe Hypnosil. Sims is understandably against testing an experimental drug on a bunch of apparently suicidal teens, but acquiesces as long as Gordon takes full responsibility for whatever happens. In the rec room,
He
Jennifer's
won't.
watching
He won't
TV
take full
as research
responsibility.
for her future acting career and burning herself with cigarettes to stay awake. But it doesn't work, because while she's watching Dick Cavett interview Zsa Zsa
it's that
Gabor,
bad.
things get weird.
Can I ask you something?
Certainly.
Who gives a fuck what you think?
That's how you do a cameo. Jennifer gives the TV a whack to fix
I
it,
didn't
but
know
then it
who that
sprouts
is.
some arms out the sides and grabs her, lifting her to the screen. A Freddy head emerges from the top and delivers one of the most quotable lines
Which
of the
is?
franchise.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV. From the prime time, bitch.
He smashes her head through the TV and kills her, and fun fact, Prime Time Bitch is the only Freddy line ever improvised by Robert Englund, and it wound up
That
being
was
pure gold.
improvised?
At Jennifer's funeral, we pick back up on that nun storyline when she
Why
shows
is there
up to
none?
Dr. Gordon and introduces herself as Sister Mary. She tells him only one thing will save his kids.
The unquiet spirit must be laid to rest.
Ooh,
That's
cryptic.
ominous.
And when Nancy walks up, you know that nun gonna disappear.
That
like a
outfit
bad
is
habit
dope.
on New Year's Day. Yep, she gone. Nancy and Gordon have another private meal, and this one's got candles and a fireplace. So, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah.
Some serious Anakin Padme vibes. But maybe this is all just Nancy buttering him up, because she tells him it's time to quit dicking around and believe her and the kids about Freddy Krueger. Cue another group session.
And he
Only
doesn't.
in this room.
Nancy gives the kids the lowdown on old Fred Krueger between his child-killing first life and his dream-killing second life, and informs them that they're all descendants of the vigilante parent parent group that roasted Freddy
Oh,
alive.
really?
You are the last of the Elm Street children.
Nancy says they may be able to defeat Fred through Kristen's convenient power of pulling other people into
Oh,
their
so
dreams.
we're
And
all
also,
just gonna assemble like the
everyone
Power
has
Rangers.
Their own special power they can use in their dreams.
Literally
yeah,
the
this
Power
stuff
Rangers.
doesn't really follow the logic of the first film, but then again, none of the sequels do. So fuck it, let's get to some dream warnings. Gordon uses a pendulum to put everyone to sleep, and although they don't think it worked at first, these floating metallic balls are a pretty good indication that they are indeed all sleeping together, dreaming together. Let's see what these kids can do in their dreams.
In my dreams, I can walk.
Okay, sure,
Whoa.
yeah, that makes sense.
My dreams,
That's cool.
I am the wizard master.
All right, Will, you already went.
Okay,
Maybe let
yeah.
someone else have a chance.
No,
Kristen, got anything for us?
no.
Okay, some
You
cartwheels
can-
and a backflip. Sure, yeah.
Sure.
I mean, I was thinking you could aim a little higher, but that's fine. Kincaid, what you got? You are bending a chair. Wow, okay, so
Okay.
we all have pretty lame dreams. Taryn?
In my dreams, I'm beautiful
Oh, well, you were good looking before, Taryn. I mean, the
The
punk
hair
makeover
is-
certainly looked.
and bad.
Okay, when did everyone just decide they each get 2 turns? Can we please try to have some order here? At least Joey's
No.
dream is a little more adventurous,
What?
since he sneaks off to go sleep with that nurse he's been eyeing. Too bad you don't talk, Joey. It's the perfect opportunity to say, hello, nurse. But Freddy winds up being
What?
a wet blanket on this wet dream, since the nurse's tongue play
Oh,
gets a little
no,
too
oh,
intense
no.
for Joey,
Oh,
and he
God.
winds up getting some lashes that tie him to the bed.
What's wrong, Joey? Feeling tongue-tied?
Ah, shit.
Will he
that's
talk,
right. Now
though?
begins the part of the franchise where Freddy takes all the jokes I would have made. Freddy doesn't kill Joey, instead keeping him suspended over a pit for whatever
That's-
reason, and the rest
I
of
mean,
the
it would
street
get
talking
pretty
group gets
warm.
trapped inside their room as the walls start closing in around them like a trash compactor on the Death Star. The whole situation
And they have
ends when
powers,
Dr.
though.
Sims enters the room to find it looking like an opium den. Joey's on the floor and not responding at all. Apparently, he's in a coma now, an incident that gets Gordon fired by the hospital security.
Yeah, well, he
To
did
be
take
fair,
In
responsibility.
the last 4 days, we've had 2 suicides, and now that young man is in a coma.
Yeah, if that dude didn't get fired, there'd probably be an angry letter writing campaign. On his way out
There
the door,
still will
Gordon
be
sees
angry
Sister Mary
letters.
hanging out up by Phil's launching pad, so he goes up there to find her lighting some mood candles. She tells him this wing of the hospital was closed in the 40s after a young girl on staff was locked inside with the violent offenders who were kept there. Heads up for some sexual assault shit, because Fred Krueger's backstory ain't pleasant. The girl was raped
Oh.
by the inmates hundreds of times apparently,
that's-
and was
that's
found
not
days
good.
later pregnant with child.
The bastard son of 100 maniacs.
And just want to take a minute here to remind you that the way you were born doesn't predetermine who you are, you know? Children
That's
begot of
true.
rape or
Yeah,
born out
yeah,
of wedlock aren't any more likely to be bad people or dream demons or whatever. Sister Mary also says that Fred's remains were never found after the fire and that they must be buried in hallowed ground to make things okay again. Got it. For some
Okay.
reason, Nancy's allowed to walk
So now we
over
gotta
Joey.
hunt for a
While she
corpse.
does, Freddy writes to her in Joey's chest, adding that special Freddy flair that really makes the message feel personal. She and Gordon convene and
What would that
exchange
font be
information
called?
and
Freddy?
realize that only one man would know where Freddy's remains are. Yo, you hear that? Is that an alto Saxon? Is that a tenor Saxon? Nah, son, it's a John Saxon. Nancy's dad, Lieutenant Donald St.
Hey.
is back, and he is drunk as a skunk.
Well, if it isn't my
In uniform too.
Guess he's honoring Marge's legacy. He also refuses to believe any more Freddy Krueger shit, so he sends his daughter away. At the hospital, Kristen freaks out and gets put in the quiet room, so when
Oh, no.
Gordon calls the kids there, what, he can just call them straight direct? Taryn tells
You would
him
think
what's up.
there would
Gordon
be
sends
something in
Nancy
place
back
so
to
he can't
Weston and
contact them.
says he'll keep working on Donald. Yeah, I'm sure Nancy's dad is gonna be real interested in talking to the 40-year-old dude running around with his daughter. Gordon doesn't wait to find out how Mr. Thompson feels about him, though, instead getting rough with Donald, which, like, I guess if you want to take that approach, dude. I know
yeah,
I
that's
wouldn't even
one.
dream of fucking with John Saxon like that. Especially
Why?
when the dude is probably
Who is
blackout
he?
drunk. But hey, why not have him drive, right, Gordon? They stop
What?
at a church where Gordon fills a bottle up with holy water and steals a crucifix. Then they drive to a junkyard that apparently Donald has the keys to, and he tells Gordon that Fred's remains
okay.
are in there, but like really deep.
Like
in
in
there.
a
Well
car?
hidden, too. Sounds like this mission might take a while, so we'll check back with these guys in a bit. Nancy gets to the hospital and rounds up the remaining Dream
No, there's
Warrior
the
kids
TV
for one last group
where it
session.
was.
Straight talk only in here.
She asks them if they're still down to join up in Kristen's dreams and help save Joey, even though if they die in the dream, they'll die in real life too. They each confirm that they're
Die in the
This
game,
could
you
kick the
die in real
motherfucker's
life.
ass all over Dreamland.
So she starts the pendulum a swinging, and it's off to Never Never Land.
Do pendulums really work like that?
Exactly, this logic tracks, but they all wind up together with Kristen in her dream.
Oh, okay.
Freddy's claws start slashing through the walls of the room they're in, sending feathers flying everywhere, and
I mean, just gotta
apparently
stay
separating
together.
everyone from each
Okay,
other.
well-
Kristen finds herself back in her bedroom, just like in the beginning of the movie. But this
Perfect
time,
timing.
when her mom puts her to bed, she's yanked out of the room by Freddy.
I said, where's the fucking bourbon?
The
Say, where's
sharp-dressed
the
man
bourbon?
decapitates Mama Parker and jumps on the bed to get Kristen. But she's got those sweet acrobatic skills with a Z and manages to
Okay.
escape through a window and wind up back in the Elm Street house. Taryn finds herself in a colorfully lit back alley set where she runs into Freddy.
Okay, asshole. Let's dance.
They have a little
Wait.
knife fight, as required by law of all back alley meetings, but it doesn't last very long before Freddy breaks out the good stuff.
Oh.
Then the track marks in her arms turn into little mouths. Sick, dude. And Freddy stabs her with the needles, giving her a lethal overdose. A truly cool death for the recovered addict, and an image that would probably make for a pretty sweet and ironic Dare shirt. Oh, hey, it does. Now it's on to Will, who finds himself in a hallway staring down the barrel at a scary-looking wheelchair. Freddy's there,
that
too,
has spikes on it.
and cracking jokes, and then the chair charges at Will. It manages to ground him on its first run, but after it turns around for a second charge, Will gets himself off the ground and turns into a stupid-looking wizard master whose zappy green finger bullets blow up the evil torture chair. Seriously, dude, last time I saw your wizard master outfit, it was on a box of Count Chocula. I mean, go ahead and wear it, I guess, as long as you don't say anything stupid.
In the name of Lorik, Prince of Elves,
Oh, well, there he goes. Well, he had one job.
Okay, go ahead and gut this dude, Fred.
Sorry, kid. I don't believe in fairy tales.
They're not fairy tales, they're fantasy epics, is what I'm sure Will is thinking as he bleeds out dying from Freddy's finger knife stab to the heart. Kristen and Nancy are able to reunite and are soon joined by a rampaging Kincaid who, is his way
walks
into the room.
through a...
Kincaid's got a little bit of Jarvis in it.
Yo, Freddy! Where you hiding at, you burnt-faced pussy? Kruger! Pussy!
Yeah, you tell him, Kincaid. Show him what it's like to get shit talked by a dude wearing suspenders. Freddy responds by placing a door in front of them, and through that door is a big old furnace cave where Joey lies captive over a pit of fire and
he's
goo.
been there all this time?
And Nancy has a poor choice of words for him.
Let him go, Kruger!
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that.
Detonguing Joey's limbs. That's a weird fucking sentence. To say.
Yeah,
but
that
luckily,
is.
Nancy's able to reach him and save him before he hurls down to the hellfire.
Did one at a time.
Kristen tags in with some flippy action against Fred as Kincaid uses his mildly enhanced strength to save Nance and Joey
Bro
and
is
then
strong,
hit Freddy with a pipe. But he doesn't do too much damage, nor does Nancy after she impales him with a steel rod, because Fred just pulls that shit out and licks himself off a little blood snack.
He seems completely fine.
Then we're introduced to another new element of Freddy's whole deal. Turns out he's got a chest full of screaming faces. Yep, they're the souls of all the kids he's killed, and they give him power or something. And now,
or does that give him like spare lives?
Dad Bod Corpse Hunter, starring not Bill Maher.
Wait, does that mean that he's like a
Donald the Drunk. They pop open a trunk with Freddy's remains and
oh
start
god,
digging
what is
a
the thing
proper
from Fullmetal
grave
Ox
for it.
Brotherhood?
It's at this point that Freddy and his soul chest realize something's going on, so he disappears from the dream world to go handle his business. Freddy
he's going in the real world? Wait.
And
shit,
these
when
effects.
Did
this become Army of Darkness? Also, watch Gordon right here. Yes, I will never not find that face he makes hilarious. Donald gets into a halfway decent looking fist fight with the skeleton before Skelly Kruger throws him against a hunk of junk.
He's actually
and
dead?
impales him on a metal
No,
bar,
he's
putting
dead.
an end to Donald Thompson. Though thankfully, we'll see John Saxon in one more movie during
How?
the series.
Why?
The skeleton makes quick work of Gordon,
I guess
too,
a prequel
knocking
or
him
something?
into an open grave and doing a little victory taunt before reverting to a pile of bones again. That means he can start fucking with the Dream Warriors again.
Also, they
who are
buried him in
presently
the
the middle
junkyard?
of the Hall of Mirrors.
Or,
Freddy
I
appears
guess
in all
it's
of
in the
them,
trunk.
laughing and waggling his tongue around, and even grabbing the kids and pulling them through with a real cool looking distorted effect. Joey's able to save them by finally speaking
I wonder
up,
how they did
bringing
that.
out a Vadery no that breaks all the mirrors and spits the kids back into the hallway.
Did I say that?
And that's a kid doesn't talk, yeah.
Man.
His dream power
He
is
can
to
talk?
yell?
Cool.
Here, you want some more weirdness to your Elm Street movie? How about Ghost Donald Thompson, who appears to Nancy to say he's dead now? And hey, sorry for being kind of a dick your whole life. If you're thinking this is a bit
That's
too
a little
hokey
too-
for a nightmare movie, don't you worry. Turns out the Spectre is actually Freddy, who sticks his finger knives into Nancy's gut. Oh no,
wow.
Nancy! He turns his attention to Kristen, but he should have known to double tap, as Nancy pops back up and stabs him with his own glove. And in the junkyard, her screams of anguish somehow wake up Gordon, who manages to crawl his way to victory by knocking Freddy's remains into the grave and dousing them with holy water.
I was about to say,
Results in
does
some
that make it
cool-looking beams of
hollowed
light
ground?
bursting from Fred's body in the dream world. With a prayer to sanctify the whole process, Gordon puts Freddy to rest, and the sprinkled slasher disappears from Kristen's dream. But it's too late for Nancy. As Kristen
really?
holds her in her arms, it becomes clear that Nancy's a goner.
Died
the
later?
subsequent funeral confirms that Nightmare 3 had the guts to kill off the original film's main character. Gordon sees Sister Mary in the cemetery and runs to catch up
I mean,
with
how
her,
does
but
she
it
know,
turns
though?
out she's been a ghost this whole time, and that Sister Mary was actually Freddy's mother, Amanda Kruger. He goes to sleep that night with a popsicle
It was
stick
his
Elm Street
mother?
house on his nightstand,
Okay,
not
we
seeing
need to
when
get rid
his
of
lights
that.
turn on. Oh, honey, Freddy's home. Many Dream Warriors came out to play, but not all of them made it out alive. How many died? Let's find out.
That's a decent amount.
In my dreams, I'm a strong boy.
James,
6 people died in Dream Warriors, and the victims consisted of 3
Decent
males and 3 females.
Look at that,
and
equal
even
opportunity.
split between men and women fatalities. With a runtime of 96 minutes, that comes out to a kill on average every 16 minutes flat. I'll give the
Pretty
golden
good.
chainsaw for coolest kill to Jennifer. The whole thing looks
The TV
so great,
and
from
the
TV
line.
transformation
Yeah.
to the after effects.
The
of
effects
death.
are
and
good,
of
yeah.
course, it's got the Freddy line that I find myself saying pretty much every day.
From the prime time. bitch!
Doll machete for lamest kill will be Wizard Master Will, partly due to his lame-ass Grandpa Munster cosplay, but also because we've seen finger knife stabs 1,000 times already. And that's it. A Nightmare on Elm Street 3: Dream Warriors was released in 1987, and I think you'll find that many
a 1 year break, I
their
guess.
favorite. The next two films will follow closely in its footsteps, and we'll cover part 4, The Dream Master, next Friday.
Nope, this video.
I'm James A. Janice.
Because doing 2 of them.
The kill count.
Let's go.
Thanks a lot for watching my kill count for Nightmare 3: Dream Warriors. I want to thank a couple of my patrons like Matt D and 1402 News. How many of you are watching the Nightmare movies along with the kill count series?
I'm not. I've never seen it before.
You do. I think you can pick up a DVD of the whole series for like very cheap. Also, I really want to live stream the NES Nightmare game from like the 80s. So keep an eye out for that on the channel. See you guys next week. Be good people.
Oh God. Okay. So it means it's going to be a good one at least. If there's anything like blurred, well, if it's blurred, it's copyright. If it's censored, then it's probably me thinking that it's got the video.
For The Dream Master, released in 1988. The Dream Master continues the story from Dream Warriors, featuring the surviving characters from that movie, like Joey and Kincaid. And wait, who's that blonde chick? Oh, I guess that's supposed to be Kristen Parker, now played by Tuesday Knight instead of Patricia Arquette, for reasons people weirdly can't seem to agree upon, even though I think it's just because she was pregnant. After Dream Warriors made Freddy mainstream, the Dream Master turned him into the hero of the series. Inexperienced Finnish director Rennie Harlin wanted Freddy to be a cool guy, quote, like James Bond, and so the one-liners continued and increased. The screenplay was seriously hampered by a writer's strike.
Look at that shirt.
Time, meaning some scenes weren't written until hours before being shot, and Harlan wound up relying more on surreal dream visuals than a storyline that makes any sense. But that's okay, those cool visuals led to some pretty sweet kills, so let's get to them.
Is it gonna be more or less kills? Probably more, right?
The movie begins with a quote, because I guess that's what we're doing in this series now. Kristen Mark II comes across a little girl in her chalk art exhibit of the Elm Street house before Mother Nature washes it away.
Everyone's obsessed with this house.
And now the house is standing right in front of her, complete with some jump rope girls and a Ballin' Boy backup performer. Kristen winds up inside the house, unable to escape it as the doors play funhouse tricks.
Every time you exit the door,
aloud, let the audience know she is the Kristen now.
Be calm, Kristen.
A storm blows her back all the way into a boiler room, which spooks her out so much she ends up calling on our boy Kincaid and pulling him into a dream.
Oh, shit, Kristen, not again.
And also Joey, who's looking much older and is talking a bunch more. They tell Kristen that she needs to quit pulling them into her dreams because Freddy's
that's
dead.
so like not nice.
Looks like they may be right, since the only thing that attacks them in this dream is Kincaid's dog, who bites Kristen's arm. Oh yeah, the dog's name is Jason. Wonder if that's a reference to anything. The next morning, Kristen
that has to
pick
be
up
a
her friend
reference.
Alice Johnson, whose dad is a real prick.
You going out dressed like that?
Dude, she looks like she's going to a Catholic parish bake sale. What's your problem? That dad is so douchey, Alice's brother Rick exits his house through a window just to avoid him and gives Kristen a smooch because that's her boyfriend. They get to school and meet up with her friend Debbie.
That's
who
a lot
there,
of that's a lot of hair.
Dan from across the parking lot. Looks like Alice is a Dan fan too.
You know, you are one major league hunk.
Thanks, Alice.
Even if she only has that kind of confidence in her daydreams. Another friend,
well.
Sheila, rolls up on a smoky moped type deal, and judging by her big old glasses and asthma condition, it's obvious this
I
chick's
wonder
a
what
nerd,
she's
but
supposed to be.
Too. There's a seemingly random moment where Debbie finds a bug in her bag of chips and gets super grossed out, and is literally just here to shoehorn in a character trait for Freddy to use in a kill later. That happens a lot in this movie. Looks like Kincaid and Joey go to the same school, having successfully reintegrated into society after being chased around a psych ward by a dream demon. They tell new Kristen to let Sleepy Freddy fly, and that there's no reason to keep using her dream power anymore. After they leave for class, Rick calls them a bunch of weirdos, but might want to check the color of that kettle, dude, because you're the one doing an extended Karate Kid practice session to some Dramarama in the garage that night. Maybe this is just his way of dealing with having such a piss-poor excuse for a parent.
Looking for something?
Oh, no, Papa.
This is
nothing
blasting music in the middle of the night while doing
Daddy
karate.
Johnson just berates Alice about the dinner she made for him.
You call this vegetation a meal after a 10-hour workday? What the hell am I, a rabbit?
Yeah, could we get Freddy in this dude's dreams ASAP? Alice
Yeah, no, that'd be great.
takes matters into her own hands, but it's just another daydream. What's up with this chick? She's dreaming so much, she may just be a master of it by now. Oh, I think I get it. Speaking of dreams, Kincaid falls asleep and wakes up in one of his own, in the trunk of a car at the junkyard.
Just like Freddy.
And Jason the dog seems to be digging up some old bones.
Don't do that.
We're about to get Freddy back, but I wonder how they'll do this. Oh, the dog pisses fire. Okay, Kincaid, you gotta stop putting kerosene in the kibble, man. The fire cracks open the ground where Freddy's skeleton is lying in pieces, but not for long. It reassembles itself and begins to grow organs and skin and blood in a manner very similar to Frank Cotton in Hellraiser, which had just come out the year before. Interesting. More fire gives Freddy his glove back, and with the donning of a dirty fedora, it looks like we're Looney Tunes back in action.
You shouldn't have buried me. I'm not dead.
He uses his powers to possess a bunch of junked vehicles, which trap Kincaid in the middle of a car maze so big and confusing that you could probably use it to trap a hotel-possessed father. Then he appears right next to Kincaid and stabs him in the gut, and stabs him again, and is all
He
like,
didn't just leave him in the maze.
I know, we're
20 minutes in.
way too early in this movie. And with the third and final stab, we see Kincaid dying in his bed as his poor pup wonders
doggy.
what's happening to his human. Aw, poor
Aw.
Jason. Maybe if you wait 15 years, you can get revenge on Freddy. Well, if we got
15
rid of
years?
Kincaid,
What?
might as well get rid of Joey too. He's fallen asleep with his MTV and steals a peep at this bikini model on the wall right before drifting off to dreamland. In his dreams, his waterbed's like a wave pool, and
God,
inside
it's a
that
waterbed?
bed is the woman of his very horny dreams. Before he can figure out a way to breach the barrier between them, though, she sinks away, and up comes Freddy, who's got the most obvious one-liner in store for this kill.
How's this for a wet dream?
He pulls Joey into the waterbed and kills him with his finger knife. A pretty basic kill for
Someone
Krueger, albeit a wet
got a
rendition.
bonus for
At least
writing
we get
that.
this nice shot of a bloody waterbed at the end of it.
Ew.
And there's another cool shot when his mom comes in his room later to find him dead in the bed.
Inside the
Correct.
bed?
The next day, Kristen
Dude, the amount of questions.
and she chats with Alice about how they've both been having nightmares. Then Alice drops the movie's title on us.
Did you ever hear of the Dream Master? It's a rhyme. Just have to dream about someplace fun. Remember, you're in control.
I don't get it. Was that the rhyme, or...? But instead of explaining herself more thoroughly, the two of them just keep incessantly talking about their dreams like they're a couple of young actors.
Do
who
people
just
talk
moved
about
to
their
LA.
dreams?
Actors. When they go to class, Kristen sees that both Kincaid and Joey are missing.
I'm just
She
like,
freaks
I
out.
never
All right,
remember mine,
winds
ever.
up knocking herself out in the corner. She comes to in the nurse's office, but does that lady look a little English to you? Yeah, she does, because she's Robert Englund, and that nurse is Freddy.
I want to draw some blood.
But Kristen would prefer a proper phlebotomist, so she wakes up from that nightmare, and that's that. Apparently, Alice works at this Back to the Future style diner where Dan the handsome man stops by looking for her brother, because I guess he and Rick are buds.
Also, is that
Debbie,
the
meanwhile, wants
the
to
work
be more than
outfit?
buds with Dan and wonders aloud where he works out.
I mean, there is life after exercise.
Yeah, that line is another shoehorned character trait for Deb, since apparently these filmmakers have never heard of Show Don't Tell. Rick and Kristen rush in with breaking
What?
news: Kincaid and Joey dead overnight. Find out more in Act 2.
And they're
We
like,
take
oh,
Alice
no.
and Dapper Dan to Freddy's house, where Rick talks about Krueger's backstory in case anyone in the audience was still in the
Oh.
dark during the fourth fucking movie of the series. The house prompts Alice to remember the
The
Dream
house
Master
is still
rhyme.
standing
Now
for
lay
some
me
reason.
down to sleep. The master of dreams, my soul I'll keep. The Dream Master, I think I remember the rhyme.
Okay, wait, so that's the rhyme? Is that it?
What did you
Before we
say
can
before?
explore what the fuck Alice is talking about, Kristen's mom starts honking at them and doing her best Speedy Gonzalez impression.
Andale! Andale! Andale!
They have dinner where Kristen's mom pretends that Tuesday night has always been her daughter, Patricia Who, and drugs her with sleeping pills because it's way easier to parent when your kid's unconscious. Kristen runs up to her room where some well-done overhead camera movements really capture the feel of someone falling asleep while fighting to stay awake. Kristen loses the fight
sorry,
and wakes
what?
up on a beach, but there's something
Oh.
speeding around the water just offshore. Is it a shark? Is it a
No,
dolphin?
it's
Nope,
finger
Freddy
knife.
Club, and it's headed right for us. Freddy blows up a sand
like a
castle and
lionfish.
appears on the beach, and when Kristen tries to run away,
That was
she
a
winds up in
great
some quicksand.
appearance.
Freddy's all like, "Deal with it, bitch," and steps on her head to push her down through the sand. You'd think that might be it, but nah, she crashes through a ceiling and we're back in that fucking house. God damn it. Hey, Elm Street franchise? Yeah, we don't actually care that much about the house.
Yeah,
We're here
no.
for Freddy. Kristen runs downstairs and surprise, surprise.
But I
she's
guess
in a
they
war
had
room.
the house,
Freddy
so they're
appears and tells her
like,
to call one of her
might
friends
as well
into the
use
dream
it?
because the more the merrier. Kristen doesn't want to, but she accidentally
guess
summons Alice, who
It's
joins
pretty
her in the
solid,
boiler
you
room.
know? If they keep the scenes the same,
She
settings.
gets there just in time to see Freddy toss Kristen into a furnace and show off his nasty soul chest. Then, okay, follow me here if you can. Kristen's all like, "Yo, Alice, you'll need my dream power," direct quote, and throws a spirit ball or something into
Oh.
Freddy, who then regurgitates that shit like an owl pellet back into Alice. So yeah, I guess that happened. Alice wakes up and finds a postcard picture from Freddy.
Oh,
so
no.
she grabs Rick and they run to Kristen's house. Sure enough, there's a light over at the Kristen Parker place. And
You
that
mean
light
like a
is
fire?
raging
Yeah.
inferno that they find consuming Kristen in bed. Bummer. Just like that, all the Dream Warriors are dead. But who will be our
Should
main
we
character?
call
Oh,
somebody?
probably the Dream Master chick, huh? Kristen
Tell
is
people?
buried in the Springwood protagonist cemetery, and her death leaves Alice feeling
What?
different. So she tells Rick.
Something happened in the dream, and now it's like part of her is with me.
Must be the part with the nicotine addiction, because at school the next day, Alice goes to light up in the bathroom, only stopping when she realizes,
I don't smoke.
"You sure you didn't light up in that classroom too, Alice? Because this place looks hazier than a Sterling Cooper boardroom." With
Yeah,
the big
where's the
test
lights
on her
at?
face,
Do they
she
not have the lights
she
off?
might not have studied the proper material.
Learning
and how
is fun.
exactly is this happening? Well, because Alice is a real C- student and fell asleep in class, apparently pulling Sheila into her dream. The test really starts to consume Sheila. Her arm gets pulled into the paper, and then an Inspector Gadget robot arm nonsensically comes out and grabs her in the face. Watch it, Sheila. I don't think Professor Freddy's gonna appreciate all this class clowning around.
Take your
He walks
seats
over to
immediately,
the
no
star
talking.
pupil and gets pretty predatory with her. There's that classic tongue waggle. Let's hear one of your famous Freddy one-liners.
Wanna suck the face?
And with that, he starts
Oh.
sucking all the air right out of her, collapsing her dream body in a real gnarly way and leaving it looking like a Sheila-shaped hot water pad. In real life, Sheila's fully inflated but unable to
that's
breathe,
fine.
and she dies in the classroom.
Wait,
Laughing
really?
at Alice realizes that she pulled Sheila into her
Like
dream
asthma?
and got her killed, so she runs away from her friends in an awkward crying mess. Her brother chases after her, looking like he's part of the Breakfast Club. That night, Dan comes to the diner to ask Alice why exactly Freddy might be after her.
Maybe Freddy Can't get to the new kids unless there's someone to bring them to them.
At school the next day,
Wait
we get
a
our
minute.
obligatory Bob Shea cameo.
Is that what he's trying to do?
Lectures on about more Dream Master bullshit, but none of it even makes any goddamn sense. Alice falls asleep in class while Rick falls asleep on the toilet, which can definitely happen if you're tired enough. Trust me, I know. Rick starts having a Freddy nightmare with a personal cheer squad in the stall. But wait a minute, I thought Alice could pull people into dreams without the other person falling asleep? Why'd we need Rick to fall asleep? This fucking movie, man. Rick finds himself in a bathroom that looks like it'd be part of an underground club in 80s New York. Kristen's there, she's all burning.
I've been to places that look like that.
Transports Rick down to a karate dojo. In one of the dumbest scenes of the franchise, Rick fights an invisible Freddy, swinging his limbs around wildly, accompanied
how do you
by
fight
cheesy sound effects.
invisible
This
Freddy
literally happened
Krueger?
because they ran out of money and had already filmed Rick's funeral scene, so they needed to kill him off somehow. Look at how cheap this set looks. It's just a bunch of fucking bed sheets. So dumb. Eventually, the fingernail glove, -1 Freddy Krueger, launches itself into Rick's gut and kills him, ending the life of our pantomiming Ralph Macchio. Ralph Macchio?
That's 5,
Business
so
is booming
one
for
more.
Springwood coffin makers. During Rick's funeral, Alice has a daydream where we get this unfortunate moment.
Oh, that's terrible.
Hello, baby.
Oh god, please make it stop. There's really no point to this Rick hallucination, so we'll just stick him back in the coffin and pretend like that never happened. Now the only friends Alice has left are Dan and Debbie, and we don't even know anything about these two.
I mean, look, I don't spend hours working out to let some night stalker beat me.
Oh yeah, that's right. Debbie's apparently into exercise. Even though
So
we're an
why
hour
is
into
that
this movie and we've seen no visible
necessary?
evidence of that. At home, Alice demonstrates that she's still absorbing the paper-thin character traits of her dead friends and family because now she's good at karate. Or at least her stunt double is. Alice goes to meet Dan at the diner, but when he's not there, I guess she decides it's a good time to take in a movie. Ooh, Reefer Madness. I hope it's the Kristen Bell one. Nah, it looks like it's the one from the 30s, which is actually a little inside joke since Bob Shea had distributed copies of that movie to help finance New Line Cinema early on. But then the movie turns into a reel of the diner gone desolate.
Yeah,
and Alice's
New Line
snacks
Cinema
start getting
like
sucked towards the
really
screen.
started out with
Killing is
this.
one
They
thing,
turned it
Freddy,
into
but
something
that soda
else.
probably cost like $10, all right? Not
That's
cool.
true.
Eventually, the
Back
movie
then,
pulls
$10?
Alice
Yeah.
herself into the screen in a great effect. This movie
Like
may
Freddy's
be
what launched
nonsensical,
New
but it
Line
does have
Cinema
some cool
into. They
visuals.
did something
She looks
else
out at
that was
herself
really
sleeping
big.
in the theater like it's one of those crazy shots from Dreamcatcher, and inside the diner finds an old version of herself. What does she come across next? A monolith and the space baby? Freddy shows up and gets his order of meatball pizza. Bet you got a couple of jokes lined up for us here, huh, Fred?
Rick, you little meatball. I love soul food.
Ah,
soul
sick.
food.
And then he eats that little Rick ball. Gross. He tells Alice to bring him more victims, and she accidentally opens the door to Debbie.
And
who,
she does.
Holy shit, is actually working
Hey,
out.
look at
even
that.
though her form is pretty sus.
Why are you
that?
that-
Is one narrow friggin' grip.
Yeah. I
Alice
mean,
gets back to the
narrow
diner.
grip is the
She and
thing,
Dan
but
get
that's
into the
not
truck
quite
and
it.
Rush to go save Debbie. And Deb's too busy with her gains to notice Freddy's come to spot her. Alice and Dan get to Deb's house. Alice runs across the lawn to save Deb, then Alice gets back to the diner. She and Dan get into the truck. They rush to go save Debbie. And Deb
Wait,
finds
are we doing
Freddy
this
giving her
again?
some resistance
Oh.
training and delivering the obvious no pain, no gain line as he rips her arms apart at the elbow. I absolutely love this. It's so well done that it's almost hard to watch. Even on floppy broken arms. Then, because Freddy wants to work both of Debbie's shoehorned character traits into her death, he makes it so cockroach arms sprout out of her stumps and her shoulders.
Ew.
And there goes a hand. The transformation leaves Deb running around a dim hallway looking like a rejected Spider-Man villain. Alice and Dan get to Deb's house. Alice runs across the lawn to save Deb. Then
Why is he
Alice
not
gets
with her?
back to the diner. She and Dan get into the truck. They rush to go
Oh,
save
so
Deb.
what?
Deb
Are they
finds
just in a
herself
loop?
inside a roach motel, looking out at her empty bench and no doubt thinking about all the reps she's missing out on. Her feet get trapped in that nasty sap stuff, and then she falls face first into it. When she tries to lift her head out of the pool, her face just goes straight off. Nice. Completing her buggy transformation. Meanwhile, Alice gets back to the diner.
Okay,
But before
we're
she
just
and
in a
Dan
loop
can get
here.
into the truck, they finally catch on to the fact that they're asleep, and Freddy has them running in circles. Cockroach Deb finally meets her end after struggling with her motel's amenities for a while. Freddy's giant eye peeps in as he bungles an Eagles lyric.
You can check in, but you can't check out.
Oh,
And
it's
he
an actual
finishes her
roach
long,
motel.
drawn-out death sequence by crushing her within the body.
Ugh,
Alice
ew.
and Dan see Freddy standing in the middle of the road, so Alice floors it to wreck his shit, but instead she just wrecks the vehicle. Oh, and apparently she did that because she inherited Debbie's rage. That whole thing is so dumb. In reality, Alice actually crashed the truck into a tree, which nearly
they're
killed
okay?
Dan. GFJ.
No
At
airbags?
the hospital,
No
Alice
airbags.
realizes the doctors are going to put Dan under anesthesia, which will leave him susceptible to a Freddy infection, so she rushes off to
a
go prepare
Freddy
herself
infection.
for the fight. And since time is so limited, you know what she needs: a montage. She gets dressed and accessorizes with all the crap her dead friends have left her, and then looks into the mirror and pretends to be cool.
And then tries to be the
Dan is put under and
combination
wakes
of
up
all
in
of them.
Dreamland to Dr. I'm sorry, Doc. What'd you say your name was again?
Oh.
It ain't Dr. Seuss.
Then Alice
It
jumps
ain't
into the
Dr.
mirror and
Seuss?
winds
Is
into
that
the
what he
hospital
just
room,
said?
okay, and unties Dan from his hospital bed. They run through a pipe with some Class K Supo squigglies cut out in the sides, and when Freddy appears on the other end, he starts spinning it around like it's some kind of crazy tunnel at DZ Discovery Zone. This is
Or
just silly, dude. What is
at,
Freddy
like,
even doing
a
here? The kids
haunted
crash
trail
through a stained
place.
glass window and fall into a church. which Dan cuts himself deep in the process, and after it bleeds through into the real world, his doctors wake him up from the anesthesia. This yanks Dan out of the dream world and back to reality, leaving Alice alone as Freddy strolls into the church with a one-liner.
Welcome to Wonderland, Alice.
She uses her newly inherited karate skills to do a bunch of flippy dips and then
what is that gonna do?
Crap out of Freddy like dozens and dozens.
He has
and
finger
dozens
knives
of times. Although none of it seems to phase him, since he just keeps laughing his dickish laugh the entire time. Eventually, he tosses her across the room, but she gets back up and uses some MacGyver science bullshit to rig up a Ghostbusters-looking blaster that
what?
a hole straight clean through Freddy's torso. Freddy don't care though. He just waxes it off and tells Alice that he is eternal. But of course, Alice has to be triumphant somehow, and the way it happens is drenched in weak sauce. Some jump rope girls on break in the rafters.
Why there's always more of them.
She's been yammering about this whole movie, which apparently ends like this.
Evil will see itself.
And it shall die!
Yep, you heard right.
You show Freddy his reflection.
And I guess that's what's happening here as we rollick through Freddy's
He sees his
digestive
shadow.
tract
Is he
and see all the
Medusa?
souls that he's eaten. The souls start punching out of Freddy's body, and although I'm not a fan of that Dream Master rhyme ending, or really the whole chest full of souls thing in general, I will say that the effects here are absolutely awesome, and a great example of how combining different effect techniques can result in something beautiful. Oh, and one of the escaping souls is played by Scream Queen Linnea Quigley. She shows her boobs, of course. Eventually, all the escaping souls rip Freddy's jaw off and escape through his broken mouth hole, leaving nothing behind but an empty sweater and a lonely finger.
He comes back.
I am including this as a kill, and in retrospect, probably should have counted Freddy's death in Dream Warriors too. My bad.
Well,
the happy soul heads fly past.
Well, Dream Warriors
Alice
was the last one, so
escape
they would
through
have the same
window
amount of
into
kills,
the night
won't they?
sky. Alice leaves the church, which leads into a denouement that shows her and Dan together talking about how easy sleep has come lately. But when Dan tosses a coin in the fountain, Alice sees Freddy in the reflection.
Oh,
or does she?
He's gonna
She
wave.
definitely did, but he's not there anymore. And who's to say what that means? Other than the fact that there would definitely be another sequel. But instead of worrying about future
there's a lot of them.
we gotta focus on
this
now,
is 9
man,
movies.
and the kills that the Dream Master gave us. So let's see how bad of an idea wearing a green shirt was and get to the numbers.
Oh, wait, is he gonna be a floating head? I've done streams wearing this shirt, actually.
Oh, hey, not bad. 7 people died in the Dream Master, as long as
that's
we
actually
counted
really
Freddy,
good
which I will.
color coding.
The victims included 4 guys and 3 girls, which means Freddy once again killed his victims in a fair and balanced way.
Yeah.
At a runtime of 93 minutes, that comes out to a kill on average about every 13 minutes. I'll give the golden chainsaw for coolest kill to Debbie. I love how drawn out her starting with the elbow
I don't know
breakage and
why
advancing to a
in the
stage 5
world
Gregor
this
Samsa.
video,
The entire
like
transformation
what was wrong with
looks
this
great.
video?
It's even got the fun dream loop thing going on while it happens. Easy winner in my mind. Dull machete for lamest kill goes to Rick, who died in that stupid fucking invisible karate scene with a stupid fucking flying glove stab.
It
And that's
might
it.
be
A Nightmare on Elm
the
Street 4, The Dream Master, was released in
the,
1988 and was the
the
highest
bench
grossing Freddy
scene?
film until 2003's Freddy vs. Jason. People loved it so much that a sequel came out just under a year later.
Is Freddy vs.
And we'll
Jason
look
a
at
Freddy
that
movie
one
or a
with
Jason movie?
Dreamchild next week. Until then, I'm James A. Janice. This has been the Kill Count. Thanks a lot for watching my Kill Count for the Dream
My
Master.
Bloody
I wanna thank some of
Valentine.
my patrons like Will Sternick and Charles Hall. We have now left the nightmare movies that I love and are getting into the stuff that I don't love. I did wind up doing a live stream playthrough of the Nightmare on Elm Street NES game. If you missed it,
he
click
did.
up
Okay,
there to
that's
see
awesome.
that video. And I will let you know that on Monday will be a Kill Count. And yes, it's a movie relevant to next week's holiday. I'll see you all then. Be good people.
Next week's holiday. So, what we did... Oh, actually, yeah, no, it's been a while. So, this is... It's going to be a it's Valentine's Day, obviously. I was about to say, I was trying to figure out, because, like, he did, like, New Year's Evil on, like, New Year's. So, like, how many weeks has there been? I'm like, oh, that'd be, like, right around February. My Bloody Valentine. So, that makes sense. So, I guess that'll be next week's video, just that, and then we'll get back into the Nightmare on Elm Street videos and President's Day, and then... we have a lot to go. I have not seen any of these movies. I think I saw a Freddy vs. Jason video by Nostalgia Critic, and that is pretty much it. But we have Leprechaun. What in the... I've never heard of, like, any of these movies. So, it's going to be quite interesting. This was Nightmare on Elm Street 3 and 4. I really hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully I made your day just a tiny little bit better. I look forward to reading your comments. And, yeah. This was certainly something... I can definitely see, like, they just seem like the first 2 movies just kind of, like, got a little better. I mean, the plot at some points got a little bit, you know, a little bit crazier, but I still think they kind of kept true to, like, they flowed really well together. It probably helps that they were made, you know, all within the same number of years, pretty much. So that probably helped a little bit, and had the same directors and stuff, like, and producers and cast as well. So I look forward to next week's video, which is going to be My Bloody Valentine, which is another movie I've never heard of. I've only heard of the song called My Bloody Valentine. I look forward to watching that. I hope to see you there. But until then, take care and keep the music.
We were